Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 8 of What If Naruto Had the Ultimate Nature Bloodline. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, stay in tune for the rest of the What Ifs coming your way over on Anime King and Anime King 2. And if you're new, yes, you heard that correctly. You're not mistaken, I do have 3 channels, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new, I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last time we left off, a month and a half has passed since everything. Both boys has been training intensely since then, as we found them training in the forest of death. Getting special permission from their father, they were allowed to go there. The place was rather dangerous for anyone else under the rank of Chunin. Even Chunin sometimes found it rather difficult, but yet the two boys were sparring in there. As Naruto had unlocked a various of other bloodlines coming his way, lava release and many others. Yet Menma was able to push further in his completion of learning the wood style. Given the fact that they were living in the Senju compound, there was many things there left behind by Hoshirama Senju, so Menma has been getting stronger as well. As both boys clash, despite their young age, they were able to change the terrain. But as usual, Naruto seemed to have surpassed Menma. Menma won every now and then, but Naruto was taking a lead with a higher win percentage. As Naruto gave Menma a stern look because he was too slow to react, as he told him next time he must react faster. Menma didn't even argue, as he realized that he was too slow at the last part there, and he would work on it. With that, the boys went home. As they saw their mother on the couch, she had cookie crumbs on her face. As she woke up and see them with a smile. Things had been difficult. Kushina had cut her hair. People deal with charm in different ways. Kushina took it out on her hair. As she cut it, she would have shaved herself bald if it wasn't for Snazzy intervening. So right now her hair was at her shoulder. As both boys were trying their best to deal with the situation as well. Losing someone so close to you was never something easy to handle anyway. But they were trying. Yes, they were trying. As Kushina shouldn't be stressing out herself either because she was pregnant. Yes, she was pregnant with her little girl. As they found out that the baby she was having was a girl. In no way was anyone gonna replace that girl with Mito. She was just a new addition to the family, someone they will love and take care of. The mindset of boys had changed, as Minato had noticed that. The man had went on a 2-week sabbatical, person had took back over, but he was now back on the job, as he spends still much time with his family, and he's there for the entire family. Snazzy is also there for them, trying to make them go through it. The boys made their way to the Uchiha compound after that, as Damon, a Uchiha. He was a year older than them, as he seemed to like Sesame, as he was always fussing with Naruto at first, but now things have changed and he yapped his mouth to Menma, almost hurt him, but Naruto had to stop him as he shook his head. A police force member then felt it as Naruto heard what the boy said, as he almost killed Damon. It was just a raw anger, despite there is nothing there on his face being blank. The police force members split up everything right there, as they made their way to ask Fukaku for help. Minato wasn't so sure about it, but the boys want to be placed under a genjutsu, as they want to use the power inside of them. After all, what's the point of having it if you can't use it? So that is exactly what they did, as they used the fox power, as they were able to burn Fukaku, chuck her out of their system. As at the end of the day, the Chunin exams were coming up, and the things were different with teams now, but Onki was sending his granddaughter. This was all a ploy, and the Raikage was sending Yujito. They want to see the strength of Minato children. After all, having more than one person knowing the High Rishin was rather dangerous. But Minato had full confidence in his boys that they could handle any genuine threat or Chunin threats in their way. So yeah guys, that's basically as we left off. You guys can switch across the place to check it for yourself. So this will begin this new episode. Before we get on to it, the last time I made a small mistake in the other episode, as Naruto is the one with the 75% of the chakra, given the fact that the soul of the Kyuubi is inside of him. When Mito died, the part of the fox inside of her was drawn back to the soul of the Kyuubi, giving him 75%. So Menma only have 25%, and given the vitality of his wood style, Menma would be able to control the fox 25% inside of him. That boosts of power far better than Naruto, because the wood style is more his basic nature. Naruto has all bloodline, but yet Menma was advanced than him in the wood style. So yeah guys, just a little correction on my part. So let's get straight into this. We begin this episode at the Hidden Rain. The place was dark, only lit by a small lantern on the table. 3 people stood in silence, as a question was just proposed. 3 of them standing in silence. There was an arc of lightning outside that bathed the place in a flash of light, where you saw the faces, orange, spiraling mass, a woman with blue hair, amber eyes, and a man with spiky orange hair piercing over his face. These were the top members of the Akatsuki, the one known as Pain, using the body of puppets. The leader of the Akatsuki that was being used by the masked man. Pain, right hand, Konan. There has been no sightings, said Pain, as he looked towards a man who called himself Mother Uchiha. The person they were looking for was Orochimaru Kisani. Orochimaru had fled the organization a week after that mission where Shisui was taken. We need to find him and retrieve the ring, the masked man said. But he's hiding very well. But it's only a matter of time before he comes out of hiding. But I believe I know what he wants. And what is that? Said Konan. He wants the body of Naruto Senju. And why would he want his body? Asked Nagato, speaking through Tendo. More say his eyes. Orochimaru was too intrigued in the boy's eyes, speaking about them every casually, moment or so after that mission we undertake. And knowing that he wouldn't be able to get the boy's eyes without hurting or somehow misfiguring his body, perhaps killing him. Seeing that that boy has what we need, he chose to abandon us. Those eyes of his, Konan said, they once belonged to the former Uzumaki leader that was said to take on 3 Kage 11 ninjas, 3 Bijus, and thousands of ninjas by himself. And in the end, the only ones left standing was the Kages. Well, the Kage of Miso was dead. The only 2 remaining was the right Kage and the Tishukage, who were heavily wounded. Yes, I too know the tale, Madara said. Naruto Uzumaki is a formidable foe. Last time I saw him, he was working on those eyes of his. So there's no telling how strong he's gotten by now. It doesn't matter. We will still proceed with the plan, said Tendo, and retrieve all the tail pieces. It's only a matter of time. You should not underestimate him. And besides, his father will be there to intervene in the plan. The 4th Hokage, Minato Nakase, the old Flash, said Tendo. He's a formidable foe, but I shall handle him while his son is taken. And that was final as Tendo stopped talking. After all, the man was a god who could stand in a god's way. Meanwhile, at a secret base in the land of sound, Orochimaru had a twisted smile on his face. Despite being hunted down like a dog by the Akatsuki, there was something more valuable than being a part of that team. They wouldn't allow him to take the eyes of Naruto without, well, causing the boy harm. After all, the boy wouldn't stand still and allow his eyes to be taken. So, he has to be roughed up a bit. Not to mention Orochimaru wanted to tinker with his body to see how his eyes tick before doing anything. Those eyes, those nature eyes was a mystery. No one really knew how they correctly work To be able to stimulate the body, to be able to use all form of nature transformation. That was a dream that Orochimaru wanted. To pass all ninjutsu. It wasn't just ninjutsu, it all nature transformation. Everything that he ever wanted. Not even the Sharingan could copy those abilities. To show how amazing Naruto's eyes was, Orochimaru was fascinated by them, and he wanted them. But the only problem right now in his way was Minato. The last time he deserted the village, he barely left with his life. He had to sacrifice a lot of his pawns to cause chaos so he could leave. Minato was a dangerous foe. Too dangerous. Orochimaru could hold his own as a son, but Minato was still too powerful. But Orochimaru was cooking up a plan. He spread the news. People fear those eyes. Because back then the eyes were said to be eyes that were bestowed by Kami. To be able to wield so many nature transformation. To be able to strengthen the body to a degree. Where one man could take on an army and Jinchurikis. Remove the Bijus. And defeat Kages. The nations were getting afraid. Meanwhile, no. Said Oniki as he was floating, looking through his window. What's wrong, Gramps? If this is correct, then this Naruto Uzumaki, the son of Minato Mikase, is far more dangerous than I thought. Oniki looked frightened, yes. He looked frightened. Two things were revealed. Information were spreading that there was Naruto Uzumaki. They didn't call him Senju. They called him Uzumaki in the reports. That was just a warning. And he had the eyes. The eyes that was from the former leader of Uzu, Miu. The former Kishikage was the one that came back with reports and told him how dangerous those eyes was. And what? The man said in his deathbed the Uzumakis would never fall. So Oniki was worrying. Not only did he had Minato to worry about, if that boy truly harnessed the power of those eyes, would he come after them? To be able to take down thousands of ninjas, and 3 Jinchurikis, and 3 Kages, that was just ridiculous. Gramps, what's going on? Said Kurosaki, snapping from his thoughts. I need to make sure that you find this Naruto Uzumaki. Wait, who's that? The son of Minato. Wait, isn't his last name Senju? Yes, but from the report I got they called him Uzumaki. Perhaps it was a threat to cower us down. Cower us down by just a brat, she said. Listen to me, I need you to find him. In the exam I want you to push him to his limits and know what he's capable of. You are a good judge of character. If he's too dangerous, I'm sure there's a part of the exam when there is killing allowed. I want you to take him out. Is he that dangerous, Gramps, for you to be worrying about a little brat? You hear what I said? He might not be dangerous now, but as the time passes, power that could control all nature transformation would be quite deadly. Well, you don't have to worry about anything. I'll make sure this village is protected, said Kurosaki. After all, I'm gonna be the next Izukage, so I can't have a brat running amok for me to have problems in the future. As Oniki just gave her a firm nod. This was more dangerous than he thought. Meanwhile, at Kumo, the Raikage was surprised. He never knew that those eyes would appear once again. His father was the one that fought off against the former leader of Uzu. His father was deadly powerful. A man that took on an army of 10,000 to allow his friends to flee, and yet his father was gravely wounded by one man. That showed you the power that was bestowed upon the last member of the Uzumaki clan leader. Understood, the Raikage said, as he looked towards Yujito, who nodded firmly as she left the office. He told her to test this Naruto Uzumaki. That is what the report said. But his last name should be Senju. Someone was trying to coax them out. Someone was trying to get them all panicked. But he had to find out if this was reality or if it was false. And what his other son were capable of. There was something else in the report though. The man's daughter died recently. That must have put Minato through a wreck. Well, the Raikage did not know. After all, he didn't have any spies in Konoha. But this information that he just got was truly enticing. And he had to find out what was going on. Meanwhile, at the village, it was late in the afternoon. The place was kind of dark already. Standing in the graveyard was Naruto Senju. As he looked at the memorial stone in front of him, his eyes were blank, completely blank, as he just looked at the stone. Well, you couldn't tell if he was showing off emotions from his eyes, because the eyes were quite strange with those ripple patterns and the color in them. As he just looked at the memorial stone, unmoving, where his sister name lay. He started to walk, stepping away from the stone. He was being watched. As Naruto made his way, he raised his fist as he smashed his fist into his own face. As the Anbu that was watching him was caught off guard by that, he smashed his fist once again, before he lifted himself up and slammed his face straight into the dirt. He did it once again, as he staggered back, blood leaking from his forehead. He then reached into his pouch and pulled out a kunai as he drove it towards his throat. In a flash, someone caught his arm. As Naruto twisted his arm and grabbed the Anbu arm and pulled her down, as he stared right into the eye hole of the mask. His eyes, so colorful and so beautiful. She tried to move her arm, but to her surprise, his grip was strong. If she put in force, she could break free, but yet, how? Why did she have to put in force for just a genin? Why are you watching me? Said Naruto. His tone was flat as he spoke to her. She did not reply. I was wondering. You turn my direction whenever I set off with Menma. You don't follow him, but yet you follow me. Did my father put you up to this? Do you think I'm some sort of flight risk? Because I am confused why you're not watching Menma. She was surprised that he knew that she was there. Yes, I knew you were there the entire time. Watching me constantly. Maybe I should tell my father that these Anbus are really lacking, unable to even hide their presence from a young child. I'm sure he'll be quite disappointed, unless you say something. Why did you try to kill yourself? She asks. Oh, I'm afraid you got it all wrong. I just want to lure you out. That is why you hurt yourself so badly, she said to him. He released her hand as he wiped his brow. There wasn't even a cut there. As he placed a kunai back in his pouch. Tell me, why? Has my father have you watching over me? Just to keep your safety, she said. My safety? So why not watch over Menma? How do you know that there isn't another Anbu watching over him? Well, you got me there, but you're the only one I ever sense around. And whenever we split apart, you come after me, and not him. So I'm surprised, Naruto said. Why just me? Perhaps you just can't sense the other Anbu. A little mistake on my part. Well, you have me there, said Naruto. So, let's keep this a secret, shall we? Don't want them to think that I'm more unstable than they already think I am. Hurting myself to let you come out. I should inform the Hokage of this. Why? Because I made you come out. Would you have stopped if I did not come out? She asked. Do you really think I want to die? Said Naruto. I have too much to do, too much to accomplish to die right now. And besides, my father would question your motives. How? Was I able to sense you? Aren't you supposed to be an elite of the elites? I mean, I should question my father. What the hell does he think is wrong with me? To send an Anbu to watch over me? Does he think I'm mentally unstable or something? And this will be all your fault because I caught you watching over me. Starting so much problem for your Hokage. Is that really something that you want? With our difficult times, said Naruto. You're quite a clever kid, she said. Do not let me see you doing this again. I will have to inform your father. I assure you, I won't be dying anytime soon, said Naruto. There's too much to do. She had panicked. She saw him at his sister's memorial grave, and she thought that he was actually going to kill himself, but this was just a ploy to get her out here. Well, he was a clever kid, and tried to turn the blame on her, so that she wouldn't tell his father. Well, he was clever and smart as well. Perhaps she should keep this one to herself. He didn't seem that in risk of killing himself. And the way he spoke about things, it just sounded quite mysterious despite him speaking to her casually. She then flashed away as she was gone. As Naruto turned his back, laughter could be heard in his head. as he was taken. As Naruto blinked, he was in front of a massive cage. The place was blank all around. Literal darkness, yet the cage had light on it. The cage was large and wide. As Naruto could walk around the cage, the iron seal, not to mention 100 other seals placed on him. His father had restrained his seal after what happened. He now had 75% of the chakra of the fox. But his Mokiton, bloodline inside of him, was able to quell most of the effects. So, he wasn't being affected by the fox or anything. But yet recently, the fox started to talk to him. He hadn't told anyone about it yet. A little secret that he's been keeping to himself. "What do you want?" said Naruto. "Perhaps you were indeed trying to kill yourself." The fox said, his eyes were the only thing being seen in the darkness. "Trying to feel something once again," he said in a mocking tone. "And how would killing myself help? Well, perhaps you will feel something on the edge of death." Naruto looked toward his arms. The fox could somehow feel it. Naruto didn't know how, but Naruto couldn't feel anything anymore. Ever since Mito's passing, he just didn't feel anything anymore. He didn't feel sadness. Since everything, he had yet to cry, and that was strange. Didn't he care about Mito? Of course he did, so why hasn't he cried? He hadn't fully expressed his feeling on anything. He didn't know what was wrong with him. Perhaps it was his eyes or something, changing his body in different ways. Or perhaps his body just shut down on that day, seeing his sister being taken away from him. He just couldn't feel anything at all. When he felt pain, yes, that was something. When he fought, he felt the rush of battle. But yet, other than that, he felt absolutely nothing. He knew that he cared about his mother and his father, but he just didn't feel things that would make him do something otherwise. He had to forcefully act. It was weird. Like somehow his emotions has been cut off. Something has been bothering him lately. But yet he couldn't find a way to fix it. He read about psychology. He read about many things that have to do with the human brain, but nothing. And he was afraid to tell anyone about this. It was weird. After all, someone with no emotions. What would they do? Perhaps you should allow me to take over your body. Perhaps then you'll feel some sort of emotion. How stupid do you think I am, said Naruto. It's worth a try, the fox said. You have been rather talkative lately. Are you getting bored? Well, you might say that. How would you feel to be stuck in here all day? The fox asked him. Really bad, said Naruto. Perhaps when I'm done on this earth, I can free you. Done on this earth. That is not something a kid should be saying. It sounds like you're planning on dying soon. Not yet, said Naruto. But don't worry. You get your freedom, said Naruto. Or perhaps I'll bind you with so much seal and keep you locked away forever. The fox growled at that. Quite pent up, are you? Said Naruto. It's just a small joke. It don't seem like you have the ability to joke anymore. Do you even know what is funny? The fox asked. As Naruto laughed, but there was no humor in his tone. Perhaps I don't, he said. Perhaps I don't. As he started to fade away from the mindscape. Seems I have company, he said, as he was gone. The fox simply chuckled darkly. It seems like it was planning something. Finding a way to use this state of Naruto to get its freedom. He looked around the cage as it reached out a paw. His claws crashed against the cage as the fox pulled back as electricity teared through the area, trying to burn his claws. The seal, the iron seal, was not enough to contain him. There was hundreds of other seals around it, probably thousands to hold him back. Not to mention, as he looked around, the moment Naruto was gone, wooden spikes emerged. A lot of them. If his cage were to burst open, they would impale him. He simply shook his head as he curled up into a ball and went to sleep. It's only a matter of time before he gained his freedom. After all, this kid, like many others, only wanted his power. That is what they all wanted. Meanwhile, as Naruto was walking, he came to a stop. Sesame was standing there. She had two bouquets in her hand. one for Shisui, and one for Mito. She didn't know what to say as she saw him recently. They haven't been talking lately. He just spent most of his time training or hanging out with Minma. So she was unaware of what to say, how to break the ice. It felt rather uncomfortable, as Naruto was the first one to step forward, surprising her as he took the initiative. "I'm sorry," he said. She was surprised by those words. "Sorry? For what?" she said. "He's been through a lot. He shouldn't be apologizing," as she could understand. After all, he lost his sister. "For ignoring you," said Naruto. "For not coming by anymore to spend more time with you and Sasuke." "I'm sorry," he said to her. "It's alright," said Naruto. No," said Naruto. "That doesn't explain my behavior. You're my friend. We're friends, aren't we?" She nodded. "Then I shouldn't leave you out. You has also feel the effect of my sister's death. And I've been ignoring you," said Naruto, pretending like we weren't friends. "And I'm sorry for that. Can you forgive me?" As she looked at him, surprised that he was actually the one apologizing to her. "As I said, it was okay," she said. "You needed time. We all needed time to be alone for a while. And I don't blame you for anything. I understand why you stay by yourself. But if you want to come over and talk, that's okay," she said to him. As Naruto smiled, "I will like that. Perhaps another time," he said, a smile. As he started to walk away. "I'll see you soon," he said, as he made his way off. She stood there. She felt her heart start to beat faster at his smile. As she calmed herself. It's been so long since she had a conversation with him at this length. Yes, recently their conversation has been at just a firm nod when he came by her house. And nothing more. He didn't bother to talk to her. She spoke to Nenma, but not for so long, but she hardly spoke to Naruto. And it made her happy that she did, as she got a pep in her step as she made away. But that died down when she realized where she was, yes. She was visiting her dead friends, Grave, and her sensei. Time skip. Minato stood serious in front of the two boys, as they were in the private training ground in the Senju compound. "I will allow the both of you to enter the Chunin exams. The both of you will be a two-man team. Sasuke, Sesame, and Sakura will become the official Team 7, while you two will be getting special permission from me to enter as one team. You will have a disadvantage, seeing that you won't have a third member. But I'm sure the both of you can handle this," he said, as he looked towards the two of them. He raised a hand, stopping him from saying anything. "I'm not done yet," he said. "Many teams are coming from other nations to see you guys. And not to make friends, but to test your strength. The Tishikage Oniki, you know about my past with the Hidden Stone. He's sending his granddaughter. He's sending his granddaughter to test you guys. Something I'm sure of. There has been rumors circulating about you, Naruto," he said as he looked towards Naruto. "Me?" said Naruto. "Yes. Seems like someone was able to leak the information about your eyes. And they're comparing you to the former leader of the Uzumaki clan. You remember what the history said about when he died? The words that he said. The Uzumakis will never die," said Menma. "Yes. The nations are getting afraid. So they're sending their people here to test you guys. And it's gonna be dangerous. Are you guys sure that you're up for it?" "Do you believe in us, father?" said Naruto. "Of course I do." "Well then, you shouldn't ask us that," said Naruto. "What about Kumo?" said Naruto, his tone serious. "Jiraiya has his suspicions, but we believe that the Raikage is sending the two-tailed Jinchuriki. We are not fully aware if it's her, but from the information Jiraiya has gotten, he believes that it's her, and she will be a target of yours as well. I know it might sound ridiculous for two Genis to take on a Jinchuriki, because from Jiraiya's spy, it said that the Raikage himself has been training her personally. So she's mastered the power," said Menma as he clenched his fists. "You have nothing to worry about, Menma. The Nine Tails' power is far stronger than the Two Tails," said Minato, "so it will be harder for you. But that's not the big deal here. I believe she will be coming after you as well. But I have faith that you guys can stop her just like your mother. Your Fuinjutsu, your wood style. You are the best weapons against her Jinchuriki. Although I hate to call you guys weapons. But it has to be done, said Naruto. So they're all going to be coming after us to see the strength that we possess. Yes, said Minato. I just want you guys to know and be ready for the exams. I don't know the information their instructors gave them. If they're supposed to just test you or if they're out for blood. But be cautious and focus, think. The both of you are trained to be smart on your feet. The both of you know how to calculate situations. And retreating is not a cowardly act. Do you two understand me? He said. What about the sand? Said Naruto. Our situation with the sand has been rocky lately. But I don't think they will be a part of the trying to attack you guys squad, said Minato. After all, it looked like that is where things were playing. Gaara is currently in a bad state, so they won't be participating. But the sand also has a Jinchuriki, which is the Kazekage's son, Gaara. I've seen the boy once or twice before when I went on talks, peace treaties between our villages. And his father seemed to treat him badly. His own father, Minma said. Yes, from what I've heard from Jiraiya's spy, the boy is rather unstable. He has killed a lot of people with his sand, and he showed no remorse in doing that. As Naruto narrowed his eyes at that, was that what was happening to him, he thought to himself. Was it because of the 9 kills that he was not feeling anything? He did not know. But if he's being sent here, then things are going to be more hectic. But that is why I'm going to make sure that both of you are ready, and we're going to continue our training, said Minato. I'm believing and putting my trust in both of you like I've always done before, because I know the both of you can handle this, he said, as he gave them a smile. And it shall be done, the both of them said, like a perfect unit. Alright then, said Minato, as he pulled his kunai and threw it up in the air, a single hand sign as they scatter. The kunai multiply into tens around them. Alright then, he said, you know what to do, as he flashed away, as both boys also flashed away, but not in a higher chain, in a sun chain. Time skip as both Naruto and Minma were making their way. The both of them looked quite battered. Their hands were wrapped in bandages. They were trying to perform something, but it didn't work out so good on them. A calibration jutsu. But they haven't got the full hang of it yet. As they made their way, they heard screaming. Minma narrowed his eyes. As the both of them turned the corner, that is when they saw the 3 kids, as Konohamaru was being held up in the air by a boy, and he was cursing to be released, as he was shouting rather loudly, as Udon and Moki was also screaming for the boy to let Konohamaru down. Kankuro, yet drawing a lot of attention, a girl, her hair was tied in 4, ponytail going down her back. She had a large fan in her back, as she was from the hidden sand from the headband. And there was a boy with warm makeup on his face, and dressed in a black bodysuit, and something on his back rather large. As Konohamaru raised his fists, I'm just gonna teach these punks. When you run into someone, you must apologize, said the boy, known as Kankuro, as he looked over towards his sister Temari. As he grabbed Konohamaru's fist, what were you gonna do? Punch me? The boy asked. Hey, said Minma. As Udon and Mogi turned, a smile came on their face when they saw Minma. As they saw Naruto as well as he smiled, of course they knew them. They always came by Sarutobi's house, and they always played with them when they had the time. Big brother Minma, big brother Naruto, said Konohamaru. As he's hardly seen him lately, he heard what happened from his grandfather. He heard about Mito, and he understand why they weren't showing up much. As he looked towards him that pleading look. As Naruto stepped forward, hey, would you kindly release him, he said, talking calmly towards Kankuro. Temari narrowed her eyes as she saw his eyes. So this is him. As she could tell from the eyes, the same color, 3 colors, those rings. It was him. So this was the famous Naruto, Senju, son of the Hokage, and that must be his brother, Minma. They were quite handsome, she thought herself. As Naruto walked forward, as the other 2 kids ran behind Minma, as Minma looked towards him before turning his head back, as Naruto looked towards Kankuro, Release him, he said, not uttering another word. And who the hell do you think you are? Tell me what to do, asked Kankuro. As Naruto narrowed his eyes at his headband. You're from the hidden sand, and yet you step foot inside of Konoha, doing as you please. Trying to hurt the little kid that is from Konoha, while you're from the hidden sand, said Naruto. As Naruto sighed, you think it's fun to pick on someone smaller than you, someone weaker, someone that can't defend himself, and yet you're gonna show him a lesson. Well then, BAM! It happened so quickly Kankuro could barely react, as Naruto's feet slammed into the side of his head. As he did not even hesitate, Kankuro was thrown as he smashed into the tree behind them, as Naruto grabbed onto Konohamaru at the last moment so he wouldn't be thrown away as well, as he had the boy by the shirt. He slowly set Konohamaru down. As he had his back turned as Temari pulled her fan. I would suggest you don't do that, said Naruto. As Temari froze, as she felt a kunai, the cold tip of the metal touching her throat. As behind her was Minma. You shouldn't enter someone else's village and cause problem. You might end up getting hurt, or even worse, death. Do you know who I am, she said. Yes. You're the daughter of the Kazekage if I'm not mistaken, said Naruto. What of it, said Minma, as both of them were speaking perfectly. Well, it would be best if you let me go, she said. After all, I haven't caused you any problem. Well, your brother was causing problem by holding on to the grandson of the third Hokage. Grandson? As she narrowed her eyes towards the boy. That brat was a third Hokage grandson? As she glared over towards Kankuro, always getting him in problem. And besides, our father is Minato Namikaze, the Yellow Flash, said Minma. His tone had no mocking to it, or no sarcasm, he just stated a fact. After all, who would win that battle? Everyone knew it was Minato. And that was clearly what he was saying. As Temari narrowed her eyes. So what now, she asked, as kunai was touching her throat. Of course I'm not gonna do anything. Why would I hurt you? You didn't do anything wrong, said Minma, as he released the kunai. I was just merely stating a warning. Kankuro picked himself back up as he shook his head in daze. His eyes were red with rage. You little brat, he said. You think I'm gonna let you get away with that? As he pulled the cylinder off his back and it hit the ground. Now you're gonna Kankuro, as Naruto was already looking up. Stop it. We didn't come here to cause problems, a boy in the tree said. As Naruto's eyes were watching him as he vanished in a whirlwind of sand and appeared on the ground. Hey, Fox, said Naruto, as a snort could be heard in his head. Could you tell me if this boy is a container of the One Tails? And why would I help you? Well, perhaps it will help you in the long run, said Naruto. You love to hit first and ask question later. Why don't you go and hit him and find out? Said the Kyuubi. Well, what if he has control over his beasts and end up killing me, said Naruto. The seal that my father designed is quite powerful, not to mention the other seals on it. I checked it myself. So if I die, you're not at your best. So I believe you will die as well, said Naruto. The fox snorted at that. You think something like this could hold me forever, to bring me down to my death? Even though you're a massive chakra, what happened when that chakra delinquished, said Naruto? How would you reform yourself? As all Naruto heard was a growl in the back of his mind. Not gonna tell me, said Naruto. It's just merely stating a fact. The Kyuubi could feel it very well. As Naruto could feel something strange on this boy, that is why he asked. His sensory ability was telling him that it wasn't only the boy's chakra circling through him, but there was something blocking it, perhaps a seal that was on the boy. But, Biju to Biju, of course, Kurama could sense it, not to mention, Naruto was freely talking to him. He could feel what Naruto was feeling most of the times. Despite the iron seal being fortified by other seals, it was nowhere as strong as the Shikifujin, a Death Reaper seal that would have contained the fox fully. So Kurama could feel it. Yes, it seems like he is. So what now? Asked the Kyuubi. Nothing, said Naruto. As Minma had released Temari, Kankuro seemed afraid as Naruto watched that. as from what he was told they were siblings. And he feared him so much. Are you disappointing our village once again, Kankuro? No, Gaara, this guy attacked me. Gaara turned his head towards Naruto. As Gaara blinked in surprise, his eyes, their eyes were the same, the hollowness, the emptiness. As Gaara stepped forward, "Who are you?" he said. Despite Naruto's eyes being strange, Gaara could see quite well. There was nothing in them. He was used to this feeling, and there was nothing there. "Ask your siblings," said Naruto, as he started to walk. The kids walking away as well, including Minma, who was already gone. As Temari looked over his shoulder, he was no longer there. As Gaara turned towards Temari. "That's him, Gaara. Naruto Senju, the son of Minato Namikaze. His eyes." "So those are the nature eyes," Gaara said. As he watched Naruto leave, there was nothing in them. "What?" said Temari. Gaara said nothing more, as he just started to walk off, making the two follow him, as Kankuro was holding on to the side of his head that was still aching him from simply one kick. He was gonna make that little shit pay, just watch it. Time skip, finally. It was a big day. As everyone was getting ready, everyone was going out towards the first 4 of Chunin exams. As both Naruto and Minma were dressed differently, as he stood in front of the door. As Naruto here had reached down into his back by this point, as he was unwilling to cut it, as he preferred this way. He was wearing a sleek red armor. It was so sleek, it looked like it was barely able to protect him at all. But the armor was reinforced with Fuinjutsu seals that kept it strong despite its sleek design. It had integrated patterns across the side, red and black. The Uzumaki symbol was on the front, the Senju symbol on the back. As the shoulder blades of the armor had compact seals on it, as long as the side waist as well, seals that had things compact inside of it. The rest of the armor was completely crimson, dark crimson, as he was wearing black snowy pants, showing off his arms up to the side, and black boots, nothing else on him because everything was sealed away. Minma armor was dark yellow. It had red pattern on it. He was also wearing black pants as well, and dark brown boots. As his hair had stopped right at the crook of his neck, his headband preventing him from falling to his face. The both of them received a tight hug from their mother, who was kneeling in front of them with a smile on her face. "Remember," she said, "be careful, and be prepared, and do not underestimate anyone. You guys have been training and practicing for this. I have no doubt that the both of you will become Chunins." As she hugged them, "I'm so proud of what the both of you have accomplished so far." As her smile was radiant, as she smiled towards her two boys. As Minma smiled back, Naruto also smiled. As he looked at his mother, this feeling, here it was. He understood what happiness was, but the full enjoyment wasn't there, but he loved his mother. Of course he loved his mother. She was his mother. As Navi came over as she ruffled their hair, mixing it up a bit. As she smiled at that. "Well, make us proud," she said, "and kick their asses." As that made both boys chuckle. With that, they made their way towards where the exam was going to start. Kushina stood right at the door, as she had a hand on her stomach. Her smile was still not wavering. She had full faith in her boys, and they would come back to her. Yes, they would come back. Meanwhile, as Sasuke, Sesame, and Sakura were currently at the academy. "What are we waiting for?" asked Sasuke. Sakura had changed over the past month or so. Mito's death really affected her a lot. Mito's death showed her that if she was weak, she would get killed out there. Mito had drilled that into her head the first day when she broke her nose, and Mito was right. That is why she came by a lot. Whenever Snady was not busy with the hospital, she trained Sakura. Despite the girl looking small, her muscles were getting defined. Yes, her body was getting an athletic build. Her hair had been cut. The girl was no longer focusing so much on her beauty routine like she usually did. If it was an old Sakura, she would have been delighted to be on a team with Sasuke because she loved him. But now she just saw that their team was needed to participate in Chunin exams. She had gloves in her hands. She was wearing a skirt, a pink skirt, brown pink, with black shorts underneath. She was wearing a similar color to her skirt as a shirt, as she had on a mesh shirt underneath, with a necklace around her neck, the kanji spelling for hope around it, as her hair was now short, going right at the crook of her neck. One might think to underestimate her because she was just a small girl, but her physical strength was almost unrivaled towards most of the genins. Well, most. There were still some of them that were far stronger, but she was growing, and not to mention her medical ninjutsu. She's gotten better. Sasuke also has gotten better. His eyes now spotted two totem of the Sharingan. Both him and Sesame has been trained the entire time when they weren't on missions, and your father and your brother had been training them a lot, getting them ready for the outside world. Sesame was still above Sasuke though, but he was getting there. As returning back to the question Sasuke asks, I think we should wait on them. As Naruto and Mainman came by recently, and they talked, it was weird at first, but as the night went on, they started to laugh and smile. But Sesame did not see it. She did not see that usual spark in Naruto's eyes. It was no longer there. But they were still waiting on them. It was then that the two boys flashed in front of them, as Sakura clenched her fists. She released her grip when she realized it was them, because it was just so sudden. As Naruto looked over her, he had a small smile on his face. I see you've improved, he said. My grandmother lessons are really paying off. Are you sure you want to call her that, said Sakura. You know she doesn't like it. Yeah, said Naruto. What about me, said Sesame. I've been training as well, she said. You're just gonna compliment her, she asks. Well, I'm sure he's seen your improvement as well, said Minma. He's just trying to piss you off by not saying anything about it. You too, Sasuke, said Minma. Like I need any compliment boost from you guys. I'm already that much stronger, Sasuke said, with an arrogant smirk. As Naruto laughed. Yes, he laughed out loud. So you guys are waiting on us, he said. Hey, what was that laugh for? Asked Sasuke. Oh, just a joke I've been thinking about, said Naruto. Let us go. Yeah, said Sakura, let's do this. As she made her way. It's a shame that all of us couldn't be on a team together, Sesame said. That would be rather unfair. Everyone has 3 people, we have 5. But what about you guys? Are you going to be fine out there? Sakura asked. Yeah, said Sasuke. It's just the both of you. Don't worry. We can handle ourselves, said Minma, as they entered. As they made their way, they arrived towards the 2nd floor, where they saw a large group of kids gathered. As Sakura looked up, as Nadia has been teaching her how to break right through genjutsus. Not to mention she also asked Kurenai's help for some basic genjutsus because the chakra controller she had, she was perfect for both healing and genjutsu. So she was able to see through the small genjutsu that was placed up. As all of them noticed right away, as they start to walk past, as snickering could be heard over to the side. The snickering then stopped. Hey, Sesame, as Damon walked up with a smile on his face. Sesame was surprised. Don't tell me you're falling for this, she said, because that would be rather pathetic. Oh, we're just here to laugh. As he had his 2 teammates behind him with smirks on their faces to watch the idiots fall for a little genjutsu. As he turned towards the group. So what's going on? Are you guys all participating? As he glared at Naruto a bit. No, the 3 of us and 2 of them, Sesame said. What? The 2 of them? Alone? Why? If we don't get moving, we'll be late, said Naruto, completely ignoring the boy. Hey, can't you see I'm talking, said Damien. As Naruto seemed to walk past. He's right, said Sakura, as he started to walk, as Damien scowled as he clenched his fists. Hey, as Naruto paused. But he did not look at Damien. He was looking at something else. Damien thought Naruto stopped because of him. I'm gonna make you pay in the exam for showing me up. Remember that, okay? As he and his friends went to watch the people fussing over idiotic genjutsu, But Naruto barely heard him as he was looking at something else. As he watched the girl walk past with a hidden stone symbol. She must have felt his gaze as she turned her head. A small smile came on Kurosaki's lips. "So that's him, huh?" she said as she noticed his eyes shining brightly. "Don't worry, Gramps, I'll handle this." Mainma turned his head to the side as he felt someone looking over at them. There was a group from Kumo. It seems like they were surrounded, as there was a girl in particular that was standing there. Her eyes seemed cold and unmoving, as she was looking at both him and then Naruto specifically. As Naruto turned his head, feeling the gaze. As he looked at the both girls who were looking at him, Sesame was confused as she felt it. The tension in the area. They hadn't even reached yet. As Naruto was calm though. He simply closed his eyes. As he was squinting so small, you could barely notice that his eyes were open, as he simply kept on walking, straight towards the room. Sakura gulped. What the hell was that? "Competitions," said Naruto. Meanwhile, in the background, there was a woman standing there as she licked her lips. Her tongue extended far past the normal rates, as there was a gleeful smile on her face as she watched Naruto walked off. But guys, we'll be in episode right here. If you want to see the next part, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. But I'm off for now. See you guys soon. Peace.